Welcome to Earl on AI. I'm Earl. There's a lot of buzz around artificial general intelligence, or AGI. But what is it? Let's find out. By now you've probably heard the phrase artificial general intelligence, or AGI, but what does it mean? Well, put simply, and maybe actually a little too simply, and we'll get to that, AGI is an AI that can match the cognitive abilities of a human. Most agree that we have not yet reached artificial general intelligence, so where are we at now? Well, the AI of today, almost all of it falls into a category called artificial narrow intelligence, or ANI. Artificial narrow intelligence can actually surpass humans at certain targeted tasks, but it's not generalized and it's not as good as the average human on everything. That's where AGI comes in. Here's a definition of AGI from Google. Artificial general intelligence refers to the hypothetical intelligence of a machine that possesses the ability to understand or learn any intellectual task that a human being can. It is a type of artificial intelligence that aims to mimic the cognitive abilities of the human brain. And here's another definition from a research paper that I found on ResearchGate. AGI can learn and adapt across various domains without needing task-specific programming. It embodies a level of cognitive flexibility akin to human intelligence, enabling it to understand, learn, and apply knowledge in diverse contexts. So between the definition that I gave at the beginning, which was kind of an amalgam of things that I've heard, and those two definitions that we just heard from Google in the research paper, we're starting to sneak up on it. AGI is an artificial intelligence that can match the intellect of your average human being. Well, here's a question. How are we going to know when we get there? What's it going to look like when we have AGI? The thing is, it's probably not going to be a one and done process. It's probably going to be something that will be measured over a continuum. Google DeepMind has proposed a 5-step classification system that ranges from emerging, where the AI is about as good as an unskilled human, to superhuman, where the AI can surpass human cognitive abilities in practically any context. OpenAI has a similar 4-step classification system that ends with superintelligence, an AI that can far exceed humans in any domains. So shifting away from the concept of one day we don't have AGI and the next day we do, to this sort of continuum where we sneak up on AGI and we'll probably know it when we see it. That helps us understand the progression toward AGI a little bit better. So here's a related question. If the AI is as good as a human, does it have to be sentient? Does the AI have to be self-aware to be an AGI? Most say no. And in fact, that's actually a separate realm, a field of study called strong AI, which is very fascinating, but we're not going to get into in this episode. Might be in a future episode though, but AGI doesn't have to be self-aware. It just needs to hit that cognitive level where it can match your average human. So how do we get to AGI? What sort of technologies do we need to get there? And there are actually a couple of schools of thought on this. One is that if we just continue to scale the work that we're already doing on large language models and also continue to integrate more innovations like we have along the way that help AI do better reasoning and do better thinking, this will eventually take us to AGI. It's the bigger is better sort of approach, where better ultimately leads to an AI that is as good as a human. Others believe that's not going to get us there, that in fact the progress that we're making on large language models has already begun to plateau, and that we're going to need an additional breakthrough, some sort of new idea or notion or algorithm to take us to AGI. And this gets to the heart of when will we have AGI? That depends on whether large language models can take us there or if we need a new breakthrough. If the existing scaling activities that we're already doing can get us to AGI, we'll get there sooner. If it's going to take some new, unknown, yet to be discovered breakthrough, Well, those are unpredictable. So we don't know exactly when that's going to happen. If that is something that's going to be required, it's a big question mark then. So let's talk about when everybody thinks we're going to get there. Well, there's a consensus emerging among the thought leaders and the entrepreneurs in AI space, and it's sooner than you might think. About 5 to 10 years is what is being put on the table, which is a lot sooner than a lot of people thought that this would happen. A lot of researchers, on the other hand, are more conservative. They think that AGI is farther out, which is interesting because if you look at the predictions made so far by the entrepreneurs and the thought leaders versus the predictions that were made by the research community at large, the entrepreneurs have been getting it right more often than not. So when's AGI coming? Could be pretty soon. 2 to 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Let's put up on the screen what some of the experts are saying. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, has stated he believes AGI could be achieved within the next 4 to 5 years and has spoken of superintelligence arriving in a few thousand days. The CEO of Anthropic has predicted that a human-level AI could be developed in as little as 2 to 3 years. And based on when that prediction was made, it suggests a timeline of 2026 or 2027. The CEO of Google DeepMind is considered more conservative than his peers, but still forecasts AGI arriving within 5 to 10 years. And Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, whose hardware essentially powers the AI revolution, predicted in March 2024 that within 5 years, that would be by 2029, AI would be able to match or surpass human performance on any cognitive test. And again, the researchers, both in the financial community and the scientific community, are more conservative, with some estimates ranging from decades to never. So what do I think? Well, I've watched technology for quite a while, and I've seen the power of geometric growth. And this actually leads me to believe that AGI is going to come sooner rather than later. So my guess, 5 to 10 years, right along with the tech luminaries. So if it's coming so soon, you might ask the question, why? Why is it coming so soon? Why are we working towards AGI in the first place? What do we hope to achieve? And I think there's at least 3 different perspectives that are driving us toward developing an artificial general intelligence. First off, there's no way that we can ignore the economic aspects of achieving AGI. The productivity gains from having artificial intelligence that could match or even exceed humans would be a tremendous game-changing event. And I mean, just think about it for a minute. We'll talk about the implications, and there are many, of getting to AGI a little bit later in this episode. But think about the advantages for a minute. An AGI doesn't get tired. It works 24/7. It doesn't need health insurance. It doesn't get cranky. You don't have to interview it. You can set it off on a task and it will go single-mindedly working to accomplish that task. That's a hard set of benefits to ignore, especially if it really does hit that level of being as good or better than a human at the things that it takes to go out and solve a problem like that. And the other thing is, it will likely be cheaper than a human. However, I don't know if we know that for sure yet, because we're already finding that to build the data centers necessary to host even the current generation of large language models, the power costs, the space requirements, the silicon requirements are immense. So what will it actually take in terms of a data center to create an AGI? And will that really be cheaper than a human being? I guess time will tell. So let's think about the other side of the coin from economics. That's pure altruism. Imagine an AGI that could help us with medical research, one that could help us find targeted medications to get better more quickly, or maybe not ever get sick in the first place. Imagine an AGI that could help us think through diplomacy to handle some of the thorny issues that we just seem to be having all around the world. What about an AI that can become an expert in materials science to help us find and use better materials, better, stronger, faster, to build all the things that we need to build, including all those data centers that we're going to need for AGI. And ultimately, an AGI, when fused with robotics that could take away some of the drudgery of the human condition and help us to actually level up in terms of our pursuits. One more driver of AGI is geopolitical. There's a huge competition right now worldwide and primarily between the US and China regarding AGI. Why? Well, whoever gets to AGI first and even beyond to artificial superintelligence, which is the next level after AGI, whoever does that first is going to have an incredible strategic advantage. So the US is working on it, China's working on it. From what I read, China's working on it kind of the way that you would expect in a state-sponsored fashion, while the United States is relying more on the innovation of our high-tech companies. But make no mistake, this is definitely a digital arms race. To the winner will go some spoils. Everybody knows it. So everybody's running towards it as fast as they can get there. Well, so what happens when we get to AGI? And we're going to get to AGI, socioeconomic, geopolitical, all those pressures that I just talked about are rushing us toward artificial general intelligence. And even if there are some that think that we should slow down, the reality is we're not going to slow down. We're going to step on the gas. We're going to speed up. That's just the way it's going to be. So let's explore a couple of possibilities for when we actually get to AGI. Well, of course, AGI could usher in a whole new realm of worldwide utopia with the fusion of AGI and robotics taking care of all of our needs and making sure that we have an egalitarian society where humans focus on the human condition, what it means to be a human being, and the AGI takes care of the rest. Another possibility, of course, and the one that we've seen in all the movies, is that the rise of AGI leads to an incredible dystopian future where the power brokers at the top control all of the benefits of AI. They reap all of the rewards, and the rest of us wander through a dark landscape just trying to find whatever scraps we can to survive, or working uphill in a resistance against our new digital oppressors. These sound like extreme scenarios, like they'd be better off in a movie than they would in reality. Honestly, though, I think that we're going to go one of those two directions. I think it's either going to be utopia or dystopia. And if we look at the movies, they all tend toward a dystopian prediction. It's all going to go dark. However, consider this, though. When you're talking about making an action movie, which works better? One in which the rebel humans are trying to take their world back from the AGI, or the one in which we have a global happiness and we're all just wandering about, pondering our future? Yeah, the action movie sells better when the AI is our enemy. Just like it sells better when alien life forms are our enemy. I mean, think about all those movies that you saw where the aliens are our friends. Can't think of many, right? Conflict sells, whereas global utopia doesn't sell. So, could go either way. However, while we're on the path, let's talk about how this makes it all the more important that we consider the pillars of AI and security that I talked about in the first episode. First off, security for AI. If you have an AGI, an AI that's as capable as a human being, it could either manufacture amazing new medicines, or it could manufacture a horrible bioweapon that could wipe us all out. Seems like it would be pretty important to put strong, dependable, reliable guardrails around that kind of an AI so that it does good things for us and doesn't do bad things for us. And also make that AGI difficult to subvert by bad actors, because they'll try anywhere from folks just trying to do the standard thing of economics and theft to terrorism. Now, security with AI. This actually gets fascinating, because if you have AGI hackbots that are coming at you, are you not going to want AGI defenders to try to help you fend off those attacks? Sure you are. And in the world of information security, we've borrowed a concept from the military called the OODA loop, OODA. It stands for observe, orient, decide, and act. And you don't just do that once. As the phrase OODA loop implies, you do that in a loop. And if your OODA loop is faster than your opponent can OODA, you're probably going to win the engagement. However, if the attackers coming at you can OODA faster than you can, then there's a good chance that you're going to lose and their attack will succeed. We want AGI defenders to help us against AGI attackers. Sounds scary, but it's going to be the way we're going to have to go when AGI gets here. And then that flows right into security from AI, or in this case, security from AGI. We're going to not only need AGI defenders to help us keep our shields up, but we're also going to need, just as a human race, contingency plans for what happens when an AGI, or heaven forbid, an artificial superintelligence, or ASI, goes rogue. Something we need to be thinking through now before those things arrive. And that's going to require everybody to put their thinking caps on, especially people in public policy, especially people in government, especially people in the military and law enforcement, but honestly, all of us. We need to be thinking through, when the AGI gets here and it comes at us, what will we do? Will we be ready? So honestly, it's going to be fascinating to see where this path takes us. In terms of, can we be ready for it? Can we actually accomplish the security controls and the frameworks that we need to ensure that when AGI arrives, that it's spectacular and not spectacularly bad? Well, I would say yes. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think, first off, that forewarned is forearmed. We know this is coming. It's not a surprise. We have time. Let's get ready. And finally, I'll leave you with an inspirational quote from one of my favorite movies about AI gone rogue. And that's this: when it comes to the emerging age of AGI, the future is not set. There is no fate, but what we make. If you enjoyed any part of this content, please be sure to like and subscribe, and also click on the bell to get notifications when a new episode drops. If you've got thoughts on AGI, and I imagine everybody does, please leave them in the comment section. Exciting? Scary? Maybe a little bit of both? Would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching Earl on AI. I'm Earl, and I'll see you next time.